Well, hello again. Back again to do another tutorial. This time we'll look at the HSL panel, and this allows us to adjust the hue, saturation and luminance of different coloured channels. So again, let's go and create another snapshot so we can come back to this, and we'll just click on HSL. Now in here we have up along the top here we've got hue, which allows us to adjust the hue of a colour, saturation, which allows us to do, well, the saturation, the luminance, which is how bright it's going to be, and then we can click on all, which shows us all of those panels, so we can swap between those as we wish. Now, this is typical with most things in Lightroom. We can adjust the different colours by just moving these sliders around, and we can do, I don't know, say the blues, so we can adjust the blues to make them a bit more magenta perhaps, or a little more cyan. So we can do the hue, we can do saturation. So again, if we look at the blues, we can make the blues really saturated or not saturated at all, and then we can adjust the brightness of these, so we can actually make them quite dark and quite brooding, or we can make them quite light. So I'm just using the blues there to demonstrate it. But using these sliders around, if you don't know what colour it is you want to do, is a bit hit and miss. We have another way of doing this, a better way, which is to use this button here, which will allow us to adjust the hue by dragging in the photo. This is the targeted adjustment tool. We saw this when we were looking at the tone curve, and again we can come into the photo, and let's suppose we want to do something with the greens here. We can adjust the hue of the greens, and we can see actually it's not just green that we need to adjust, it's also the yellows. And if we want to do something in the cliffs, we can do the cliffs. Let's push that up a bit, and this time we're doing magentas and purples. Or perhaps you want to bring it down. If we wanted to say make them a bit darker. If we wanted to do saturation, we click on the saturation adjustment tool, and we can do the same thing here. So if we push the adjustment tool up, we can make the greens more saturated. Obviously if we go too far it looks a little silly, but we can play around with this, and we can do the same thing with the cliffs here, which are purple and magenta. So we can bring a bit more colour out of that, and perhaps we might want to bring a little more colour out in the house. So let's see what we do when we adjust this. It's oranges and yellows, and so we can target specific areas and specific colours with the targeted adjustment tool. And we can do the same thing with luminance. So perhaps I want to make this a bit brighter. Let's push that up, and we can get a bit more brightness into the cliffs there. And that is the HSL panel. Now we've also got some more options here, so we can do colour, and this allows us to do hue, saturation and luminance, but only focus on a specific colour. So if we do reds, we can adjust the hue of reds. We can adjust the hue and saturation in reds, so we can make it really saturated, which looks a bit postery, or we can just adjust that, and we can then also adjust the luminance and this would do just those specific colours. And then the final one we've got is, I'm going to come back to this when we do black and white, but you can see what's happened. This photo has gone immediately to monochrome, and we can use the targeted adjustment tool, and if I put my mouse over where the greens are, where the grass is, you can see that we can actually adjust the black and white value of just the grass area. Notice how nothing else is changing in this image. So if you want to do black and white, this is actually a very good way of being able to target specific areas of the photo and specific colours to adjust those as a monochrome image. You can still see, or you can still manipulate the colours underneath to increase your contrast or saturation or what have you. So if you're doing black and white, this is a much better way of doing black and white than just desaturating the photo, where you won't be able to do any of this. So we can come up into the sky and we can bring the sky down, which makes it look much much more interesting. Okay, that's the HSL panel. Tomorrow or next time we shall look at split toning. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.